asked me, because I am a member also of CAAD, the Research and Education in Computer-Aided Architectural Design in Europe. So they asked me to present their next conference. It's going to be in Vienna, in Austria. And so I have a quick presentation. There's going to be TU Vienna, Technical University in Vienna, is going to have a large celebration for the 200th anniversary. And this is the venue for the conference. It's going to be it's very close. It's going to be in September. So they have the workshops on September 14th, 15th. They are going to hold a PhD workshop on September 15th. And the conference itself is going to happen on September 16th to 18th. So they sent us very beautiful images of Austria, of course, with a beautiful girl and flowers. And then, because it's too close, so most of the people here may not still have time to, it's impossible to submit papers anymore. But they also wanted me to advertise next year's CAAD conference, which is going to be in Oulu School of Architecture in the city of Oulu in Finland, next year, also in September. Okay, so, and also the theme for the next conference is going to be complexity and simplicity, which is a very challenging and interesting theme, right? So that's it. Now I would like to call, next one is, Alice Sibis, please, if you want to come to advertise CAAD. Then next one will be Acadia, Evangelos. Evangelos is here. Evangelos Batalia, there he is. And after that, Kadra. Tompa is going to show Kadra. And then Sherif is going to show Pact. Sherif is here. And then Benay Gursoy and Asli Aydin are going to show CAD Futures 2017. Okay?
Well, before talking about the next CAAD, I want to follow John Jarrow and call attention for this IJEC journal as well, that is open the call until August 10. And the theme is the last theme of CAAD 2014 is Design Freedom. And the people are invited to submit papers there, and even the best papers of the CAAD 2014 are invited to expand and publish there. And the publishing is going to be out on December now, and the IJEC now is listed in Scopus in the engineering index. Then it's better for everybody that got the academic life, okay? And now, let's go to the CAAD. CAAD 2015 is going to be in Florianópolis, Brazil. I don't know how many people know Florianópolis, but I want to show something. Just a little bit of Florianopolis for you. And just to tell and take attention for the theme of the conference, Design Information for Interaction. It gives us the opportunity to discuss topics that like BIM, parametric design, the materialization, evaluation, that give quality to the design process and give us the opportunity to be more responsible in terms of social responsibility of architecture. Okay? And just a little more of our CD, and we are waiting for you in Florianópolis, Santa Catarina at CAAD 2015.
Hello. So I'm here to present the next Acadia, which is going to be held in Boston on behalf of my school, the University of Southern California, which was the host for this year's Acadia, and my advisor, Lady Gerber. So next year it's going to be, I think, the 20th Acadia, and it's going to be in Boston. The theme is computational ecologies, designing the Anthropocene. And there are a lot of interesting keynote lecturers like Kengo Kuma, Stefan Bennett, Philip Ram, Francois Roche. There is a lot of workshops. I think for papers and for research everything has been closed, sorry. This was the important dates, and I don't think that Acadia needs any kind of introduction. Whoever can make it, I think it will be a really nice experience. I think it's going back after 20 years in Boston, but there are more people that they are more experts to talk about that. That's all.
Good. CAAD, Computer-Aided Architectural Design Research in Asia, is that what it stands for? CAAD was founded 21 years ago when we started the first conference, and it was founded in 1996 in order to encourage research in the area of Asia. The area has now become quite a productive unit for producing research in computer-aided architectural design. But the nature of CAAD conferences is that they are intended to nurture those who are entering the field as well as those who are progressed. So it is very much a mentoring conference, and one that develops communities throughout the Asian region. And if you look at the list of conferences, you can see the way it's bounced around Asia into countries that have an established tradition of doing research in computer-aided architectural design, and then moving into countries where there's opportunity to develop computer-aided architectural design research as well. And this has been a very effective formula. We've gone into countries such as Thailand, where nothing was happening at the time, in 2003. And later on, when we went back in 2008, there was already a community developing. So the next conference is coming up, and it will be, you can read that, yes. In 2016, we'll be in Melbourne. It's a collaboration between the University of Melbourne and RMIT. And the conference will be held, as you see there, in March. Is that right? Yes, March, April. The picture there is, of course, the new building at the University of Melbourne's Faculty of Architecture. And so the conference will be held in that building. You can come and see a grand piece of architecture, which is digitally designed and manufactured and delivered and assembled. But also, you can engage in two components. Following on the successful pattern of this conference and a couple of other predecessors, we will be having 2 days of workshops and then 3 days of conference. So it'll be a very engaging and active conference experience. And the workshops in particular are pitched at engaging young practitioners as well as researchers. In other words, those who are doing academic research and those who are doing research in their practice. The dates, oops, there's one more. Abstracts that you see on the second line, June 25th of September, 500 words. We encourage you to think of submitting something. And that's the timeline. So try and stick to that. Keep it in mind for September. Those of you from the Northern Hemisphere, think about it during your summer holiday. And when you come back from summer holiday, write your 500 words and submit it. Those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, when you're recovering from your winter, you're trying to stay warm, stay at home, you write your 500 words and submit it. And those of you who live on the equator, well, you can get on with it anyway. So do think of this. You'd be most welcome to submit. We would encourage you to come to Melbourne in March next year and enjoy a very pleasant, active community, a great conference. See you there.
Okay, so I won't go into why another conference, as John was saying, but this conference is a new conference called PACT, Parallelism in Architecture and Computing Techniques, and it's hosted by the University of East London in collaboration with IRIC, which is the International Exchange for Research and Knowledge Enrichment. Just very quickly, the themes are all relation to architecture and computing. Actually, the Department of Architecture, Computing and Engineering is the host in the University of East London. So this department is a new department since 2011. So the idea is that it hosts undergraduate programs in architecture together with computing and electrical, mechanical, electronic, engineering, mathematics and product design. So this, hence the theme of the parallels in architecture and computing, because there's a lot of sort of cross-disciplinary ideas. These are the themes of the conference: parallels in graphics, visualization, modeling, simulation, optimization, fabrication, construction, materiality, advanced systems and interfaces, computational design research, methods and education, and at last, data management, distributed computing software having to do with big data and high-performance computing. There's plenty of time, so the abstracts are not due until January 1st, 2016. Full paper submission April 1st, and the conference is from September 12 to September 14, 2016, so there's really plenty of time, no excuse. This is University of East London, and that's it. Thank you.
So we come from Istanbul, Benan, and me, Aslı. We are PhD students at Istanbul Technical University, and since the next CAAD conference, CAAD Futures conference is going to be held at ITU, as we call it, we would like to invite you to Istanbul on behalf of our school. CAAD Futures 2017 is to be held and organized and hosted in Istanbul with the conference theme Future Trajectories of Computation and Design. Istanbul, one of the great historical cities of the world, is located on two continents, Asia and Europe. Through the city runs the channel known as the Bosphorus. It connects the Black Sea in the north to the Marmara Sea in the south. Istanbul is a major seaport as well as an industrial, commercial, educational and financial center. The historical peninsula on the European side is where the majority of historical monuments are. It lies along the Golden Horn and inside of the city walls of Constantinople. Some famous monuments are Hagia Sophia, a few mosques by the great architect Sinan, a few mosques, the Blue Mosque, the Hippodrome and Topkapı Palace. The Archaeological Museum, the Grand Bazaar and the Spice Market are there as well. The Bosphorus to the north is lined with historical wooden houses and neighborhoods on both sides. Other than along the Bosphorus, the Anatolian side extends to the south and east, mostly with modern residential neighborhoods, and faces the Princess Islands in the Marmara Sea. Istanbul is a very vibrant city for both the inhabitants and the visitors.
So the host, Istanbul Technical University Faculty of Architecture, is located in a historical building in the modern neighborhoods of the European side. But before we move on to introducing the host, it is perhaps appropriate to talk about the conference theme a little bit, over this image that seems to extend from the old to the new and beyond. So the conference theme grew from the conception of design today as open, communicative and relational. Designers focus on the increasing complexity of planning processes, on innovation of new techniques and materials, and on producing multiple levels of abstraction and decomposition rather than on straightforward applications of a framed profession. So computation extends us to other disciplines. The theme of CAAD Futures 2017 calls for relevant ideas from multiple domains, varying reflections and speculations on the future trajectories of computation and design in its research, practice, and education. Additional to gathering the latest research, design practice, and pedagogy, it aims to expose and discuss the phenomena, factors, and forces that influence these trajectories. The detailed call will be announced on the website in due time.
Back to the host and institution. Istanbul Technical University is a 242-year-old institution with strong programs in architecture and engineering. It has assumed pivotal roles in the reconstruction, modernization, and administration of the country. It's a state university and one of the top higher education and research institutions in Turkey with a well-deserved reputation abroad. The building where the Faculty of Architecture is housed has a unique name and is usually referred to by this name, Taşkışla. Literally, it translates to stone barracks. Taşkışla is an immense stone building constructed in the mid-19th century by the Ottomans. It was first designed as a military medical school, but its plans were drawn by James Smith, were modified during construction, and its function was changed to military barracks. A century later, the building was handed over to Istanbul Technical University. Since 1983, it's a classified first-degree historical monument and hosted the World Habitat Congress in 1996. Taşkışla's plan scheme is classical. 4 straight edges marked with a vast courtyard in the center and 4 corner towers with their own little upper-level courtyards.
Within the Faculty of Architecture, the group that has proposed to organize CAAD Futures 2017 is the Architectural Design Computing Group. The group is defined under the Department of Informatics within the Institute of Science, Engineering and Technology, but its members are all members of the Department of Architecture as well. The Architectural Design Computing graduate program for both master's and doctoral levels, a top-tier academic program in the field, was launched in 2000 and has been growing stronger ever since. The scope of the program includes a series of courses on the efficient application and use of information technologies in theoretical and practical design areas, such as digital design environments, visualization and graphical representation, modeling and animations, databases, hypermedia, multimedia, representations in World Wide Web, computer programming for architectural problems, architectural co-designing in virtual environments, theoretical models of computational design methods, approaches, and paradigms.
To show for the organizational capacity to hold successful international events, we can recite the 27th CAAD on conference with a group photo from the Taşkışla entrance. Before that, we hosted EIA 9 in 2003. Here we see some more pictures from previous organized events. And as we see, we have two large conference halls, hold 300 and 175 people respectively.
There are two international airports in Istanbul, and the school is located in Taksim in the very center, and it's easily accessible from both of the airports by public transportation. And Taksim is in general a hotel area of which historically prominent ones are shown here, and ITU Machka Social Facilities is a potential venue for a conference event that could be held. And we have a few options to choose from while planning our conference, cocktail and dinner, as you see here. Tours in and out of Istanbul will be available for after-conference leisure to historical peninsula along Bosphorus and to Baroque palaces and the Aegean coast. And we hope to see all of you at the next CAAD Futures 2017 conference in Istanbul. Thank you very much.
Hello. Yes. I would like to call Professor Bauke de Vries, CAAD Futures President, to the table. Also Davi Sperling, Vice Chair of this conference, and Pedro Veloso, also Chair of the workshops. Perhaps Bauke, you can sit here. Yes. I sit here. Pedro is here. No, sorry, you're Davi. Okay, so we'll have to rush a little bit because we're late. But so now, first of all, I would like to call. We had the two, like actually three steps in the evaluation process of the papers. We use the OpenConf system, which allows each reviewer to give a grade that goes. Actually, the reviewers are not giving a grade; they're filling up the questionnaire, and it generates a grade for each paper that can go from 0 to 6. And two papers were the only ones which got the 5.5 score, which was the highest. So we decided to give best paper prize for two papers, ex aequo, which means that both are at the same quality. So I'm going to present the names in alphabetical order, okay? And this is this grade that they had the score of 5.5 was in the second phase of the review process, in which they were reviewed by 3 different international reviewers. So these are Benay Kursoy and Olivia Espinosa Trujillo. Congratulations. Can you tell me? congratulations. And I just wanted to say that the presents, the gifts that they're getting are a book by Romano Guerra editors, publishers from São Paulo, a book about Lelé, a famous Brazilian architect. Unfortunately, it's in Portuguese, but there's plenty of pictures they can see. And also a cup by Design Science Journal. Okay, so just before we finish, a little bit of accounting numbers. So we had originally 202 people registered, among which 71 were foreigners. As of yesterday in the afternoon, because some people still registered today, they only showed up today. As of yesterday, we had 166 people participating, among which 55 were foreigners. And we also had, like I said, in the first day, we have external public for attending just the lectures, the keynote lectures. And so it varied each day, but for today, for example, as for yesterday in the afternoon, we had 41 registered for today's keynote lecture. So that makes about 207 people. We're going to do a final counting, but I'm sure that we at least more than a bit more than 200 people have attended the conference, which is a very good number, right? And also a good number of foreigners. So regarding the registrations, most of them were low-cost registrations. Then we also had the full 18% of full registrations and 27% of full registrations which bring a book. And this is the places where people came from, which is incredible. We just don't have people from Africa, but except for that, there's people coming from practically everywhere, all the continents, 22 countries. And I'm just going to quote a part of, actually this is part of the paper that Pedro and I published here. In '85, CAAD Futures was founded in the Netherlands with the purpose of promoting through international conferences and publications the advancement of computer-aided architectural design in the service of those concerned with the quality of the built environment. So this is something that we kept in mind when organizing this conference all the time, and I'm sure that all the presenters did great in contributing to this purpose, to this goal. And also in the introduction of the proceedings of the first conference, Alan Pipes described the founders of CAAD Futures as veterans of 101 CAAD conferences who were bemoaning to the degree to which big business was taking over the conference scene. Selling was replacing thinking. Products were replacing ideas. So with this in mind, we tried not to have a conference that was guided by the industry, although we did have some space for the industry in the workshops. But so we had mainly public sponsors. So CAPES is from the Ministry of Education in Brazil. CNPq is from the Ministry of Science and Technology. FAPESP is the São Paulo State Research Foundation, and we also received money from the University of Campinas and the University of São Paulo. And our only private sponsor was Design Science, but like John Gerard just said, they're not selling anything because it's an open source journal. So we are proud of, not selling anything in this conference, okay? And but of course we had space for workshops because I think we believe that it's very important to keep a direct contact with all the software houses. So we had Autodesk, Bentley, Gary Technologies, and Trimble offering these workshops on top of the other private workshops. We also had as indirect sponsors, Romano Guerra publishers, and they have this. Actually, I wrote something wrong here. There's an R missing. vitruvius.com.br. It's the most important architectural portal in Brazil, and they were advertising our conference all the time, so they really helped us with this. And they also gave this book on the left, which is the book that was a prize for the girls who got the best paper prize. And then the one on the right is about a soccer stadium here in São Paulo. This was a present given to all the keynote speakers, present from these publishers. So we thank them a lot. And this is the accounting. This on the left side you see the expenses. On the right side you see the income. And I'm not going to go through in detail each of them, but what is important that we're still not completely sure about some of these values, because for example, we still have to pay the invoice for Springer, and it will depend on the exchange rate of the euro next week. So, but more or less, I think our balance is going to be close to zero. So we did good. It was, for an architect, actually, I think that was good. And then I would like to thank all the reviewers. I'm not going to call them by name because it's really a lot of different reviews, but their names are all at the website. I'd like to say special thanks to all the session chairs who were really, really helpful, organizing everything, keeping time during the conference. Also, I'd like to thank again the keynote speakers who did a great job, or are still doing, because we still have two of them. Special thanks to Professors Bauke de Vries and Tom Kwan, President and Vice President of CAAD Futures. Special thanks to people from Mackenzie University who host the workshops. Professor Wilson Florio, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, but I really want to express my gratitude to him. Professor Nieri Araújo as well, and Professor Eduardo Nadelli, who is there. And all the workshop instructors, I'm not going to name them each one by one, but their names also are in the website. And Romano Guerra editors, and also here at MASP, Suyane, Sol, Luizão, and the rest of the staff, the sound staff, Antonio, at the restaurant, Daniele, also from the buffet. Everybody I forgot to mention, I'm sure I did. But above all, our team, the yellow guys, the guys in yellow t-shirts. So at the registration desk we had André Araújo and Jerez Franco. At the main auditorium, Daniel Lenz and Victor Calisto. At the small auditorium, Felipe Campos and Rodrigo Chiri. Graphic designer, all the graphic design, even the coffee break vouchers were designed by Jair De Martino, and the posters and everything. Photo and video, Daniel Martinez, I finally was able to take a picture of the photographer. And then Elsa also, who's taping all the keynote speakers, and overall support also in the general organization, Mariano Valdepeña and Michael Cedrez. They are all students of USP and Unicamp. Even the photographer is a student of cinema, and so I would like to have an applause for them. They really deserve it. And then you can see, like I said at the beginning, you can see some preliminary pictures. The photo album is here. There's a link at the homepage of the conference. So you see that the photos are really artistic. And when I talked to Daniel the first time, I showed him some pictures of a photo album from a conference that I had been to. I'm not going to mention which conference. And he said, "We can do better." And he did. Congratulations, Daniel, very good work. And just to remember, tomorrow at 9 o'clock sharp, we are leaving for the conference to the city tour, for those who have booked it. We're going to leave, here is the museum, Avenida Paulista, so we're going to leave from the back of the museum. There's a little square there, so that's where we're leaving, because we cannot park the vans. It's going to be 2 vans. We cannot park at the front of the museum. And if you have booked a ticket for the city tour and haven't picked it up already, please do so as soon as possible, because during coffee break, the people at the front desk are going to start selling those for the waiting list. And What else? And then also after the keynote speakers today, don't go away. We're going to have a presentation. We have hired actually a Maracatu group, which is a cultural local presentation that I'm sure that you're going to enjoy. And it's upstairs at the street level. Okay, so that's it. Now I hand over to Professor Bauke to say final words.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's my job to do the final closure of this conference. Of course, we will have keynotes afterwards, but this is the final closure. And before I do so, everyone that has organized a conference knows that it is a hell of a job. You have to start 1 year ahead, thinking about the program, making the reservations. And when you are approaching the date, when the conference is really going to happen, of course things are becoming more and more tense. And what we have seen, I think, the past few days is an excellent conference that was excellently organized. I don't have a list of names of people that I should thank. We have seen them already, but I would ask you to join me in a standing ovation for the person that has thanked a lot of other people, but not herself. Gaby, that's yours.
Thank you very much, but I also still wanted to thank Davi and Pedro. They were very supportive all the time. I don't know if you would like to say some final words? No? So thank you too. And okay, so now enjoy a coffee break.